What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and most toxic black man on the internet, and I'm black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So this is a bit of a follow-up to my video that I did talking about the the legacy and the death of Lynette Hardaway, also known as Diamond, from the duo of Diamond and Silk. And the reason I'm even doing this video is just as as a reminder, but also a response to the people out there, especially really only the black people who call themselves conservatives anyway. Because there were a few black conservatives who came here who are extremely misguided in their mindset, and they just come here to regurgitate the nonsense and the excuses that they get from their white conservative counterparts. They kept coming here with the whole, you're only criticizing this woman because she had a different opinion from your average black person, meaning that, she had a different political view than other black people, which they just automatically assume all black people vote Democrat, which is not true, by the way. But they just, like I said, they regurgitate this stuff. So when I hear things like this, I've heard this type of thing for years, so this is not something new or anything that is original in its idea or its concept. And this is something that I actually thought about years ago. And when I say years ago, I'm talking about like decades ago, like early 2000s, because I tried to expand my mind to a lot of different political philosophies just so I could know what they were all about. And I will read a lot of books by different types of people, whether I agree with them or not, just to see what their philosophy was about and could I gain anything from it, right? And what I discovered was that a lot of black conservatives, it's not that they have their own opinion, is that they have white people's opinion. And when I mean white people, I mean white conservatives, okay? That's the opinion that they have. They don't have their own opinion on anything. That's why they just repeat and regurgitate a lot of things, whether it matches up or not with their actual reality. And that's the sad part of a lot of these political drones and sock puppets that you see crawling around either on social media or in the mainstream media. Because before social media, the mainstream media was full of people like this on both political spectrums. So, for one thing, I've explained this several times over that I don't ascribe to being a liberal or a Democrat either. But, when these people, their minds are so locked into this dichotomy and this liberal versus conservative mindset, they can only see any type of disagreement as it must be the opposition, right? They can't see that there is someone who does not go for either side. They think that it's all about the Bloods versus the Crips. It's got to be one side or the other. And this is where they lock their minds into, and this is why they have so much trouble trying to function in real life, because they just go with one political ideology or the other. It's political pro wrestling. You have to cheer for the heel or you got to cheer for the baby face. And that's just not how real life works. Okay? So they assume because I had some choice words about Miss Lynette Hardaway that means that I must be a Democrat or a liberal or whatever, or Biden supporter, which is not true whatsoever. Okay? If you even see my channel, half the time I'm criticizing the Democrats. Okay, I criticize them all because I don't trust either one. It's all white supremacy, just two different wings of white supremacy. And truth be told, I could have been a lot more mean and disparaging of Miss Hardaway, but I thought I was actually pretty nice in that video. I thought I showed a lot of respect based on the fact that she had passed away. Because, like I said, I assume she has some family out there that did love her and care about her. So I was trying to be considerate to them. Okay, once again, if they're not completely already embarrassed by her behavior. And that's the only thing I really focused on in that video was her behavior. Her behavior was abhorrent. It was disturbing and sick. Okay? And once again, there is no way that you can call yourself a proper black conservative or black Republican and think that Diamond and Silk's behavior was anything to celebrate. It was not. It was horrible the way that those two were acting. Okay, let's go back to when a lot of black males decided to join the Republican Party during Reconstruction. Okay, let's think about that. All right, for those who know their history, I should say, because there are a lot of people who actually have no context or know anything about history of politics or where black people were in politics. They just follow along with whatever someone else tells them. Okay, but there were a lot of blacks that did run as Republicans during Reconstruction. Okay, or they joined the Republican Party. So when those blacks did that, white people all of a sudden started creating these minstrel shows that would degrade those black people. Minstrel shows weren't as a form of entertainment just to degrade dumb black people. No, I mean they didn't really care about the dumb moronic black people that are running around the country. They specifically went out there to demoralize and to make fun of and to degrade black people who were either in the arts, who were in politics, who were in the sciences, who were trying to create formal ways of education. You know, that whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Black people were doing that and doing just fine. But white society decided that they didn't appreciate black people being that independent. That's why they attacked us on all fronts, whether it be through side warfare by using these minstrel shows to degrade black people. You know, the whole idea of the Zip Coon Dandy, that was to make fun of blacks from the North who had a proper way of speaking, and they would kind of make fun of the way those black people would talk. Okay? Likewise, they still wanted to portray the mammy to make fun of black women who had worked in the house, even though all mammies didn't talk like that. But when you see these portrayals in minstrel shows or later on in early Hollywood films, they just turn the mammy meter or the N-word meter all the way up to 100 and made it seem like all big black women acted like that worked in the house, and that's not true. It was basically a caricature, like the character you remember from those old Tom and Jerry cartoons. That version of Mammy, just loud, obnoxious, uh, dull-witted, just dumb, and it was just a mess. And that's what Diamond and Silk played up to, and that's why I said that their behavior was abhorrent. So if you're a classic black conservative, if you're a classic black Republican, there is no way that you could have sided with that. But once again, your mind is locked into this left versus right idea of politics that you have to side with your side or the other. You have no room for nuance. You have no room for thinking with your own brain and your own logic. So because Diamond was on your side, it's okay that she acts like a mammy. It's okay for black people to, like, if there was a ignorant black rapper, it's okay for them to be twerking or acting a damn fool as long as they're doing it for the Republicans. You see what I'm saying? That's ridiculous. The Democrats do this a lot with a lot of black celebrities. They pull a lot of black celebrities in or rappers or whoever, and they get them to do dumb things. That's where we came up with that whole what was it, the vax that thing up, and no voting, no fucking, or whatever that nonsense was that came out with Trina and that transsexual or whatever that they had advertising voting for Democrats and liberals. I've talked about stuff like that on this channel before, how disrespectful that is coming from the Democratic and liberal side. Okay, and I mean, there are some people here kept saying that I'm a Biden supporter or whatever, and why don't you call out the black mammies on the liberal side? I've done that several times. Okay, I've done whole videos about that. In fact, some of the people you were talking about don't even really count. They kept bringing up the same person. They kept talking about Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is the main liberal mammy. I was like, that's one of them, but she doesn't really have that type of face presence anymore. if you want to really talk about some liberal mammies, I've talked about Tyrannosaurus Burke from the Me Too movement. I've talked about defensive linemen. Uh, what's her name? Simone Sanders, who's out there tackling people to save her massa, Joe Biden. I've talked about her several times. I've talked about uh, Brittany Cooper, that another black feminist who's always espousing liberal views, and once again is built like a cement mixer. Stacey Abrams is another one. Okay, I should call her LL Stacey Abrams because she has 2 losses under her belt. Okay, so this is what the liberal side provides when it comes to mammies. Okay, so I'm not playing favorites when it comes to politics. It's all bad to me when I see black people acting like this. And once again, those women on that liberal side don't have their own mindset either. They're only regurgitating nonsense that their masters tell them to say on the liberal Democratic side. So it's not, there is no left versus right here or Mad Black's TV. Okay, and if you're locked into that type of mindset, you're either going to be confused by what I say, or you're going to feel that I must be part of one side or the other. No, I'm on black people's side, real black people, the ones that the Democrats and the Republicans ignore, the masses of black people that are ignored by both parties, and they only get their little stage playing sock puppet buffoons to play a role for them. That's the only black people they will position out there. They'll never have a black person on either side that tells the truth, or a black person on either side actually thinking for themselves. If they're not espousing this nonsense from either the liberal or conservative side, or just regurgitating nonsense from either of these political candidates, then they won't have those black people featured anywhere. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say in this video about that, just to clarify a few things. If you're going to come to this channel, know what type of channel this is. I'm not a liberal, I'm not a conservative. If anything I do ever say lines up with any of those political philosophies, it's just a coincidence. Okay, don't think I'm either for one side or the other, because I'm not. I am pro-black. That's why I say that at the beginning of every video. All right. And if you want to see my classic videos where I do go in on Diamond and Silk, or people like Herman Cain, you can watch that on my Patreon. Okay. So I was a lot harsher towards them when they were alive. All right. But that's what it was. Once they passed away, I showed them a monicum of respect by deciding not to go in totally. Okay, and I only discussed the type of legacy that they left behind. Now, I was actually very supportive of Herman Cain when that whole situation came out where he got accused of all these, sex crimes or sexual harassment. Okay, I realized what was going on there. The Republicans hyped him up and used him as a crash test dummy. And then when it was convenient for them, once he got too popular, they brought out all these white women to say that he had done something to them, and that ruined his political career. But his fool self was still out there buck dancing for the Republicans until it basically took his life away. It basically killed him in the end, continuing to buck dance and grin and smile with these people. So he never learned his lesson after that ass whooping he took back in the day with his political career. He went out there anyway and still was buck dancing for Republicans, and he lost his life for it. Okay, so, and like I said, it happens on the liberal side as well, but I was talking about him at the time, so I had to keep consistent with what I was talking about. And likewise for Miss Diamond, I did the same thing. I'm consistent in what I'm talking about at that time. I can't always bring up the other side every time. Okay, be here when I'm talking about those liberals, then show up. Okay, but I'm not going to just go back and forth just to make you guys feel better, or because you're locked into this whole left versus right paradigm. I can't do that. You got to get your own minds together. Anyway, let me know what you think about this video in the comments. This is Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.